You are watching Get Lifted TV, the debate show. I'm Lewis Daniel, and
I'm Mariam Koloyan.
And today we are here to talk about the sick album of Thundercat Drunk. So, what was your first kind of thoughts about this
I
album?
honestly did not have any idea that it was going to be the way it turned out to be. It was just so bizarre, and I saw a lot of my friends on Facebook posting about it, like, "Wow, this is insane! This is crazy!" And I was like, "Okay, cool, I'll check it out." All my standards for what crazy is were completely blown out of the water. I mean, it goes from pretty much free jazz in the start of the album, then mellows down to like sort of really smooth, slick R&B vibes, and then just gets a wee bit depressing at the end and kind of very, very, very mellow. But just all these like atonal, changing time signature 50 times in a song. It was a lot.
I think that's what's so almost magical about the album, because in this day and age we can serve this up to the public. I felt like this was when you're really hungry and then you eat that nice soul food and you just feel like yes, that's what I felt with this album. Like I listened to this album first I was on the tube, and I was like,
oh my god,
I must have looked like a crazy person because I was bobbing my head. I was like I was jamming out to this album, and I was shocked. Like my eyes were popping out of my head, like proper, like because, like,
true facts.
That tune that you were talking about, free jazz. It's called Yeah, it's like the second track. The album kind of starts off all mellow, with one of my favorite tracks, Captain Stupido.
Oh my god,
with the teeth comb your hair.
Yeah.
And then the next track starts quite off soft, and then it just goes into this mad free jazz thing. It just shows his like virtuosity on the bass. He played bass for Erykah Badu, Flying Lotus, and he's produced To Pimp a Butterfly, a bit of that Kendrick Lamar album. So it's quite rare to find someone that's so good at singing and playing bass, because the bass player normally stands at the back of the band, but this is like bass in your face.
Bass in your face.
And singing. And I love his vocals. They remind me of like an Earth, Wind and Fire type vibe. Definitely. And you get those vibes from the album. You get those like retro vibes, the 70s vibe. Even if you look at the logo typeface on the album, you can see.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Like, it looks like Stranger Things.
And I love his album cover.
Oh yeah.
Like, just kind of like above the water, like.
Yeah.
I think he captures perfectly what it feels like to be drunk.
Yeah.
All the different stages of inebriation.
And it's interesting, like today I was just listening to the album yet again, and I was looking at the track listing, and it's like, this is a conceptual story.
There's so many intros and outros and like short clips like that are 20 seconds long or something.
But you have to view them as like, this is like part of the story. It's like the it's like the musical narration, and that's what I like. It's like one piece album.
I love those kind of albums, like Solange's, and they all have like links.
It's all linked.
Album.
And this got like 20 odd tracks on it, and I was like, wow, when I saw it.
23.
I was like, 23.
But it's still the length of a normal
it's
album.
like 60 minutes long, so like it's a lot of short tracks, and I like that, because I was thinking that this album reads as like a jazz album, like with all the interluding stuff.
R&B.
It's quite R&B, quite hip hoppy as well.
Yeah, obviously you've got the Kendrick Lamar featuring, and then later on you've got Pharrell in one of the
Wiz Khalifa
songs.
as well.
Wiz Khalifa. And in the R&B ones, it's really like nice, smooth R&B kind of. I almost heard a bit of like Jamie Woon kind of vibes, where it's like a bit electronica with R&B vocals.
I've also heard like old retro vibes, like I mentioned Earth, Wind and Fire.
Definitely retro.
I've heard like Donald Fagen and Doobie Brothers and Steely Dan. Actually, on the track "Show Me the Way," it was a guy called Micheal McDonald who features on that, and actually he was part of Steely Dan.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that makes sense.
I'm just glad that an album like this has been released into the mainstream, and I'm really excited to see how it's gonna do commercially, because critically I think you know, you've got all these sort of very massively respected artists on the album, Kendrick and Pharrell and stuff, and yeah, I'm excited. It was almost a bit too much for me in the beginning.
Too much.
Like that free jazz kind of crazy Miles Davis vibes.
Yeah.
When he went a bit off. That was like I was just in my room like just cleaning or something, and I was listening to it and I was like, oh my god, this is really jarring. Like,
but it's like it's nice little pieces, and like that kind of goes with the drunk thing. You go from like going high and then going low, and
yeah, definitely towards the end that low is when you're in that slump.
Yeah.
And you kind of hate yourself and you're reevaluating your life, just being like, why?
But like, what's interesting as well, it's like the before, during, and after. I like the anime and video game references. There's
like in Tokyo's really good.
Tokyo's
well.
one of my favorite tracks on this album. Like, he talks about Dragon Ball Z. He talks about Portal, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. I was like, did you just say Dragon Ball Z? And I was like, what is he doing?
He does it more than once as well.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I feel like this album's sort of like for the misfits and the nerds, like and stuff as well.
But the people who are like jazz nerds, but also kind of, you know, not jazz police.
Yeah.
Who are like into stuff like Pokemon.
Yeah. like
you.
Like me.
Like you.
See, I actually went to jazz college. But I wouldn't call myself a jazz musician.
You're jazz police.
I'm not jazz police. How dare you get out? There's some slight activism in there. There was like, I think it's Jamil's Space Ride where he's like, oh, will I get attacked? Don't attack me because I hope the police don't attack me just because I'm black and stuff. It's like, it's not one of these, like, you know, Solange's album and Beyonce's, it's quite outwardly Black Lives Matter, but it's like a little social commentary underneath.
Let us know what you guys think. Let us know of your favourite tracks, what you thought of the album, what you thought of the album in relation to other albums that are out right now. And like, comment, subscribe,
All
Get
that good
Lifted
stuff.
TV.